Hello guys, in today's video I'm going to talk about what you need to know as a diabetic type 1. I'm going to talk only from my personal experience as a diabetic type 1. I'm a diabetic type 1 for almost 10 years now. And in this video I'm going to present what made my life so much easier in controlling my blood sugar levels successfully. You need to know I'm not a doctor or a diabetic specialist. Everything I say in my videos is only from my experience. You need to take into account whatever works for me might not work for you, so any adjustments you want to do, please check with your doctor if you're not comfortable in changing your insulin dosages. So one of the first things I remember which made a great difference in controlling my blood sugar levels. It was from the very beginning when I was diagnosed, and this is learn carb to insulin ratio. When I did it, I was just diagnosed. I was really stressed. I didn't know anything, and I had the support of my doctor, which was a really great doctor. Without her, I wouldn't be here today and successfully control my diabetes. The main thing is first I had to learn how much sugar is in the foods I eat, like in the bread, rice, potatoes, fruits, vegetables, and so on. After that I had to choose. First I started with only 1 or 2 meals. So I took breakfast and I separated what I eat for breakfast, and I took my lunch and dinner, and I kept the same for a few days, lunch and dinner. So I started from somewhere. Amount of insulin the doctor recommended to me, but being very high at that point didn't really matter too much because I wasn't even able to drop. But I started from there. As an example now, I'm going to use, I don't remember precisely what the amount of my ratio was, but let's say my ratio used to be, the doctor gave me a number in the beginning, but it was just a number. He thought it might be okay for me. So we started, let's say 2 units of insulin for 10 grams of carbs. So I started from there. I took my lunch, which was, I don't know how many grams of carbs, let's say 60 grams of carbs. I took 2 multiplied by 6, 12 units. I took it all 20 minutes before I started my meal. I was really on the clock at that point, I remember. After I had my meal, I was waiting 1 hour. I checked my blood sugar, and then I waited 1 more hour, and I checked my blood sugar, and then I checked again after 3 hours my blood sugar. And I got those values, and I knew what was the blood sugar before and what was the blood sugar after. Once I had the result of the blood sugar, if the blood sugar was too high, next meal I ate absolutely the same, and I increased the amount of insulin. Instead of 2 units, I put it 3 units of insulin. And I had precisely the same food. And I went on like that for a few days until I found the right spot. I didn't change anything in my life at that point. I didn't I didn't exercise. I did the same foods until I got as close as possible. So when I realized and I hit the targeted blood sugar levels, I found out what was insulin ratio to my food, but only one type of food. Then I started to incorporate another meal, which was having different things in. Instead of rice, maybe I put potatoes. So then I started the same exercise I did before, which, let's say before it was rice, and now I forget about rice and I use potatoes. And I use potato, let's say baked potatoes, some vegetables, some meat, and 1 apple. I eat 300 grams of potatoes instead of 300 grams of rice, which was before. I use the same vegetables, so I just change the type of carbs. Instead of rice, now I have potatoes. And I go on again, I use the same insulin ratio I use for the rice, and I see the results, and I wait for a couple, 2-3 days until I find again the right ratio. And then I know for potatoes, this is my ratio, so if it's the same or not. This is how it was for me. Between rice and potatoes, I remember, and even now, rice is more dangerous than potatoes. Potatoes I can do a lot. So if I get rice, I need more insulin than if I get potatoes. And then I went again and I tested with more. I tested with bread for breakfast. If I have 2 slices of bread, how much is doing 1 slice of bread? How much insulin ratio I need for bread? And then I use 3 slices of bread, and I ate cereal with milk, and I thought it doesn't work for me, cereal with milk, so I gave up on cereals because I couldn't control my blood sugars. And this is how I did it, guys. So I picked meals separately, and I found out my insulin to ratio, and then my life started to be so much easier. So much easier. If you don't know how to do that, I strongly suggest to talk to your doctor or diabetes specialist, and you have to learn it either with their support, where you do it slowly until you figure out what works for you and what's the best. As diabetic type 1, I realized it's impossible to stick to a fixed formula. You take this because you never can. It's impossible to eat the same. And if the doctor is telling you need 3 units of insulin per 20 grams of carbs, it's not going to work, because the carbs are not the same. Some carbs are a lot faster than others. Starches are different than carbs, so we are all different. You need to test until you find the best perfect solution. The doctors, they will give you a starting point, but from there you need to go and learn by yourself. But you have to do it smart and slowly, and don't over treat or under treat. You have to go small steps. Don't mix up things. Don't go from the beginning and eat rice, potatoes, apples, grapes all in the same time, because it's going to be a mess, a disaster. It's not going to work for you. It's absolutely difficult if you have so many variables in the same time. So it's all about trial and error, but when you learn, try to isolate things and learn how it works for that specific thing, for that specific meal. And once you know it, you stick with that meal and you are absolutely safe, considering you don't change your lifestyle. If you change your lifestyle, like you start to introduce exercising, you will need to decrease your amount of insulin. But again, don't introduce too many things at once at the same time, because it's going to be a lot harder for you. Start slowly, one by one, and once you learn it, you add another one and another one until you crack it down and you know what works for you. And when you know, just stay with those. Take the insulin, you learn it's the best for you. You know how much to decrease when you go out and exercise. How much you need to increase if you don't do exercise, and you'll learn how to master it, and you'll be so much better. Another important thing, second one, which helped me a lot to improve my blood sugars, was the moment I learned how to bolus when I'm about to eat, and my blood sugars are not at the desired targeted value. So my targeted value is always between 4 and 6. If I am to eat and my blood sugar is 7, it was quite a problem for me how much insulin to take. But I've learned it, and I made it a lot easier for me. How I do it is I calculate how much insulin I need to take usually to drop from 7 to 5. That's another test you have to do, isolated, to understand how it works. I take the shot to drop 2 units from 7 to 5. I take, let's say, usually for me it's like, depends again what time of the day I am, if I ate something before, if I have any insulin in my bloodstream or not. But usually it should be around 2 units or 2.5 or 3, between 2 and 3 units to drop from 7 to 5. So I take my 2 units, let's say, separately. I take a shot just for that. And then I'm looking at the food, how much food I eat, and how much usually I need insulin I need for that specific meal, considering I know what I need, like we just talked about. So let's say for the next meal I need 6 units. So I take an extra 6 units. And if I separated them like that, I found it so much easier for me to calculate. Before it was a little bit of unknown, and I didn't know. I was just trying random things and didn't end up very well. The third important point I realized made my life so much easier. It was in learning how to tune my basal insulin. So if the basal insulin is not alright, when you add up the foods, meals, and the fast-acting insulin, everything starts to be a lot harder, because your blood sugar is going high, but it's going high because you are already high a little bit. And for that, it's for the basal insulin, usually to tune it, you have to stay a little bit longer without eating anything. So this is how I did. Maybe again I will do another video about this. If you want, leave some comments below and I will make some video about how I did it. Maybe I will demonstrate when I want to tune a little bit better my basal insulin, and I will make some videos about it. But usually I fast longer. So my basal insulin is split in two. I take a shot in the evening, 10-11ish, and another one I take it in the afternoon, 3-4 afternoon. In the evening I take 12 units, in the afternoon I take 6 units. So if I take the shot in the evening, in the night, and I'm across all night, my Dexcom is showing a steady blood sugar, and then in the morning I'm okay, and late morning I'm again okay without eating anything, that means my basal insulin is okay. If before eating, let's say I had a 12 hours fasting, and my blood sugar after 12 hours it's still within 4 and 6, that means I'm okay. If my blood sugar is 5, I'm okay. If my blood sugar is 7, I will have to increase my basal insulin. On the other hand, if my blood sugar is 3, I will need next time to decrease the amount of basal insulin I took. And very important point in tuning my basal insulin is each time I do change my basal insulin, I never change with more than 2-3 units, maximum 3 units at once. So if I want to increase my basal insulin from 12, I will go to 14, and I will wait 2 days. 2 days, maybe 3 days, but usually in 2 days I see the results. Maybe for you, you need a little bit more, you want to be extra cautious and you go 3 days. But this is how I do it. 2 days for me, works. And I wait 2 days, and if still is not okay, the next day I'm going to change again, and I top up to another 2 units, so I go to 14, I go to 16. So if I want to increase my basal from 12 to 20, it's going to be like a week, and because I have to wait again 2 days, 2 days, 2 days, until I hit the sweet spot where my blood sugar is where I want it to be. This is how I do it, my basal insulin, and it really works for me. Basal insulin, I've seen it's a big problem for many people, diabetics, type 1, because it could be problematic if you eat late in the evening and you go to bed, your blood sugars are coming high, and sometimes you don't know if it's the meal, you don't know if it's the basal insulin, and because of that it's quite of a problem. This is how I do it, guys. I hope it's some information which could be used by others. I hope this video will help you. I hope you enjoy it. If you enjoy it, please give me a like. Leave some comments below with some topics you want me to talk about. Give me some new ideas. Subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell. Thank you for watching, and see you again next time.